I say this every time, my services, free. Let me hang out with Prince Louis. I will babysit forever. Speaking of Prince George's birthday, around this time every year, this story starts to circulate about how Prince William and Catherine are going to make a different decision regarding his schooling.
All right, let's unpack this, because there's a lot going on here. Between Prince William and Catherine's family-first image, King Charles allegedly losing his gardeners, and Meghan Markle's crumbling Hollywood brand, it's basically a royal media circus. But if you strip away the polite royal commentary and glossy PR spin, what you're left with is a fascinating look at how the modern royal family is being rebranded, and how Meghan's Hollywood fairy tale might be wearing dangerously thin.
They're going to sway a bit from the upbringing Prince William had, King Charles had. Do you have an opinion there? Is this modernizing the monarchy? Is this more of that family first brand?
I think they will be doing what most parents do, and that is looking at a lot of schools, because schools change according to the headmaster. If you get a good headmaster, you get a good school. They'd be lucky to go to any of those schools these days, frankly. I'm not so sure they would have been lucky to do it 100 years ago, but they certainly would these days. They are very, very good, and they're like country clubs. The policy, and when I was at school, if you sneaked on somebody for bullying, you would have been a pariah for the rest of your life. Now, it is encouraged that people report bullying. So you can't change human behaviour, but you can change what's acceptable in human behaviour. So what I'm thinking they will be doing is going to look at the facilities of the different schools, at the accessibility, judging the headmaster and seeing what his concepts are, what he wants for them, and trying to find the best possible school for many reasons. At the moment, all three of them are together, and I think that's great, because I think that's very nice. I mean, I remember one headmaster saying he loves it when siblings are together, because they can talk about things, they can, kind of pool their information. Of course, Eton, which is where I was lucky to go to, is a very, very good school. It's always changing, it's always developing. I think, Prince George would be a natural for Eton, but Catherine went to Marlborough. That's another good school. She may well wish him to go there, and that, of course, would take girls, which I think Eton still doesn't quite. They might take Princess Charlotte. You never know.
Right.
They can break the rules for the royal children. They want to just give them the best education possible.
So, let's start with a golden couple, Prince William and Catherine. Every time a heartwarming story drops about them refusing to fly separately for family reasons, or being spotted at the kids' soccer matches, you have to wonder how much of it is real, and how much is expertly crafted PR. In the end, this whole tangled web of royal headlines, William's family first image.
I want to read a lot of this to you because this was a very intense piece from the Times over the weekend. King Charles and the Highgrove Gardeners exodus is what we're hearing about. So this is related to Prince Will. I stretched here. I tried to make it related to Prince William as much as I could so it would fit in the category. But we learned that in July of 2021, then Prince Charles secured long-term access to Highgrove by signing a 20-year lease through a company he created, Highgrove Nominees Limited. Now, he's just very passionate about these gardens. This is...
he loves Highgrove.
Yeah, yes. Some say that this is his legacy. These gardens are a part of him, an extension of him. One of my favorite Charles fun facts is that he talks to his plants, and I think it's working if you take a look at those gorgeous gardens. But explain to me why Prince William has become his landlord and how he's maneuvered this so that he can ensure that Highgrove belongs to him or stays in his possession for the next 20 years.
I think it's because the Duchy of Cornwall bought Highgrove for Prince Charles, and of course the moment that he became king, Prince William became Duke of Cornwall and therefore in charge of the Duchy of Cornwall. In fact, of course, that means that Prince William has suddenly became incredibly rich after the Queen died, and the King, who relies on private money from the Duchy of Lancaster, got rather less, but no doubt he put a certain amount aside. But Highgrove, yes, he's always absolutely loved that place, and it's developed over many years. I've seen it several times over the years, and it's it's a sort of, in some ways, it's a kind of a crazy garden, because, you know, he's got little statues, heads of the people he admires, like the Duchess of Devonshire, Lawrence Vanderpost, those sort of people. A lot of the things were pink, which reminded him of Royal Lodge. I remember thinking that a number of the seats were for one man. You know, there were few, when you first went there were benches which had been given to the Prince and Princess of Wales, but they seem to have been changed. There are lots of sort of extraordinary sort of Turkish pots and things that are in the garden. I mean, it's a fascinating garden, and it's very much his dream, so I can well understand why he wants to hang on to it, and I suspect he would think of that as his ultimate sanctuary, really.
That's a very good way to put it. Just your reaction to the story, because it was negative, about how out of 12 gardeners, he's lost 11 since 2022. He said to one worker, or he said about one worker, "Do not put me in front of this man again." This was an individual who was on a probation period. They were trying to determine whether or not they were going to keep him on, and he didn't know facts about a specific flower. I think you always want to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, especially if you are cultivating this beautiful space that we now know they're selling an incredible amount of tickets. There's the amount of traffic that goes through this. He was called a diva about the gardening situation. I'd love your reaction to that.
Well, I think probably the problem is that, you know, now he's got access to Windsor, Sandringham, Balmoral, Birkhall, all these different houses. It seems to me that he's in perpetual orbit, and therefore he probably isn't able to go to Highgrove quite as much as he used to, or as much as he would want to. And if you don't go as much as before, then things do get out of hand. You know, there's a sort of a lack of control. And so we know that he has a habit of being petulant at certain times, because we've seen how he responds to ill working pens in public. And so if he arrives there and finds that things haven't been done as he had hoped, you know, I can imagine that it's quite likely he has something of a tantrum. And that doesn't go down very well. So I suspect it's probably, as much as anything else, a lack of overall control and drive, and, you know, that they don't know what he's thinking, they don't know what he wants, and therefore they don't get it right. And so he goes down there and he's unhappy with what he finds, and now they're all unhappy too. I think that's just a natural thing that happens, but it's a pity. And I mean, what's interesting, of course, is why the Sunday Times should suddenly decide to go for him on this matter, when, you know, he is still having cancer treatment. He's still got many other things to worry about on his plate, and it
I'm
seems
glad
to
you
me
said that.
a little bit unfair, really.
I'm glad you said that. But what was news to me was that Prince William was his landlord, which is exciting. And that falls under the heirs category to justify this conversation yet again. All right, now you don't...
Charles' gardening drama, Meghan's Hollywood missteps, all points to one thing. The monarchy is evolving, but not everyone is keeping up. William and Catherine are winning because they understand the power of subtle storytelling. They don't overshare. They let small, relatable moments, school runs, birthday photos, family holidays, do the work for them.
They mention Hitler, the Crusades, before Stewie chimes in, Prince Harry marrying Meghan Markle. And then it's a jump cut to Prince Harry, who yells again before turning towards the camera with his hands on his hips and says, "Oh, like all your wives are so much better." You've done a lot of reporting and book writing, I should say, on Hollywood icons. Meghan Markle certainly thinks of herself as a Hollywood icon. How does this hurt the image, the brand, to really become a punchline in Los Angeles?
Well, I don't know. I seem to think that she just likes any form of publicity, as far as I can see. And they always say all publicity is good publicity. I imagine that it could be irritating, but she'll probably turn it round in some way. We just hear every single thing she does. If she sends a bottle of rosé to somebody, just everything is discussed. You know, the meeting with the various advisors the other day. You know, does this mean there's going to be you know, some sort of reconciliation? It just goes on, and I just wonder when it's going to stop. Ugh. Because I think at some point people are going to get bored with Meghan Markle.
You're not already?
Well, I am in many ways, yes. But I'm still rather intrigued by the fascination that other people have for her.
Right.
And the fact that it keeps on going. And of course, the full drama hasn't yet played out, which is why, I mean, because they're still together, aren't they?
Well, yes, what's to come.
Yeah.
But there is a difference, and I even felt this in your book about Vivian Leigh. There's a difference between famous and infamous. You know,
Yes.
there is, you know, initially we were told that this With Love Meghan show was going to be this incredible product that was going to boost her into on a whole other level. The year of the Markle Sparkle is what Page Six called 2025, and this show was supposed to be the core of it, along with a podcast, affiliate links on Instagram, As Ever products, Rosé. But we learned, thanks to Deadline, which is one of Hollywood's elite, you know, publications, that Meghan didn't even crack the top 300 with Love Meghan. That's got to be devastating. I mean, not as devastating as Polo, which landed at 3,436 on the list. Just about 500,000 people watched Polo, which is, I mean, we could sneeze in a random moment and end up on a blooper reel that gets more views than that.
Or we could go to a Coldplay concert.
Oh, we could go to a Coldplay. I mean, you and I, that would make some headlines. That we could recreate that here in a second. Yeah. But what do you think? Do you think that not necessarily landing on the list, because I think she can ignore certain things. She's already got a season 2 on the way. But the press surrounding this flop, that probably gets under her skin. Do you imagine? I imagine what's most worrying is what the press, the effect that the press has on the people who are going to employ her again in the future. When they look at the spreadsheets and the marketing and they work it all out. The reason that there's a second series is because they'd already filmed it. Yes. So that's fair enough. They've got to get something back. It's already there. Why not? Be interesting to see whether they do a third season. Maybe they will. I don't know. But it does seem to me, as an outside observer, that she just does one thing after another and it goes wrong, and then she does a different thing and then another different thing, and just wonder, you know, what else she's going to come up with, because she's going to need a lot of ingenuity to keep going with new things the whole time. It is, to me, it's like the only thing consistent is that they're inconsistent, you know? Yes. You're right. I mean, if she were to lose the Netflix deal, or if she were to lose the show, I feel like it's a no-brainer that she should make the exact same show. I'm sure Netflix would give her the rights to the name for YouTube. Yes. And try to take it and do it somewhere else, because the way that she's so frazzled and moves in all these different directions, if I were a potential investor, I'd go, what is the end game? What do you do? What is your core mission? What are your values? It just seems like she's throwing darts at a wall. Absolutely. And the only thing which I don't know is whether behind the scenes, you know, her marketing, whether she is actually making a lot of money on the side, on the different brands. I don't know. Maybe she is. Do you know about that? Whether she would be, you know, because she has obviously got a lot of followers, which is important these days. I think that there was an initial blitz when it first launched, but it's gone stale. Yeah. If she wants to continue with that pursuit, the influencer game, then every time she posts a picture in an outfit, or every time she's seen in public in an outfit, she needs to immediately add something similar to her Shop My account. Right. But that's not happening, so there aren't regular updates. Not working either. So I think that it could be, there could be a return on investment there, and by investment I mean the intern or whatever that's uploading and updating that website, because you've got to pay for your help. If she were to be more consistent with the Shop My account, but she'll do the Netflix series. Everybody wants the sweater she's wearing while hovering over a bowl of spaghetti, you know, a bowl of tomato sauce, the cream-colored sweater. Well, that's so realistic. It's incredibly practical, isn't it? Yes. So there was a little mini blitz there. But the only way she can maintain the success with her links, her affiliate links, is by updating that website every time she posts herself wearing something, which is hard when a lot of the posts are back of the head, not just of the kids, but of her too. Yes. And the other thing that occurs to me is that, you know, there are a lot of people who are very popular, like Gwyneth Paltrow seems to be a very, very nice Hollywood star,
She's fairly tarnished, isn't she, by the things she said and the kind of the accusations that she's thrown out at the world. I mean, I don't think we think she's a very nice person. So that surely is also a part of it, that we don't really want to buy things from somebody like her.
Well, that's always what I've said. I feel like had she launched this brand and this pursuit of joy in 2020 or 2021 or 2022, first of all,
it's old-fashioned, but it works. Charles, for all his quirks, still represents continuity and tradition, even if his temper sometimes gets the better of him. And Meghan? She's still trying to find a footing in a world that's moved past the fairy tale. Her biggest challenge isn't the media or the royal family.
All of the hacks, all of these little lifestyle things, we would have eaten up if we were stuck in our homes during COVID.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, well, we're stuck at home, so let's make some flour.
Exactly.
Frozen ice. I mean, we would have just, but the fact that she went after the British royal family initially, first impressions matter, and that was one of the first times she opened her mouth for a lot of us, and we spent a significant amount of time with her, and she came off bitter and resentful and full of vengeance, and I know she was trying to come off as Diana in the Panorama interview. Like authoritative, and I'm going to defend myself.
The black coal makeup.
Oh my gosh, the panda eyes, exactly. But it was too much of a contrast. The Oprah Winfrey interview to this pursuit of joy. And it wasn't just Oprah, it was a Netflix series, a couple of interviews where she still seems kind of bitter about what's happened. I didn't sign an NDA. And then all of a sudden she's happy. And it's hard for us to digest that transition. So it was a sharp transition.
Yes, I think so. It would be interesting to, luckily we will never hear what her first husband says about it all, because he's a very discreet man and has, disappeared quietly into the background. But I don't think he'd be very surprised by anything she came up with. That's my view. I think and she is an actress, so she's always playing a part. But
does it surprise you at all that Suits continues to dominate on Netflix? Suits dominates like more so than their original series. Does that surprise you at all to know that?
Well, I mean, I watched Suits because I wanted to get to know her, and then she played a rather a nice character in that, and she was rather good, I thought, in Suits. But so they're still doing another series, and that's still just as popular.
Cancelled, just cancelled.
Oh, just cancelled.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they say that the original production crew are angry with her for not making an appearance because they felt like that could have saved season 1 of Suits LA. I mean, she's in LA, Suits LA. It doesn't, I mean, why not just pop in even if you're just a receptionist as a joke or something? I don't understand why.
Yes, exactly.
It's beneath her now. But I do wonder, do you think that Netflix holds on to her because they're anticipating a breakdown of the marriage and they want first dibs, or because they see the value in her based on her Suits history or her history as an actress? Because the Heart of Invictus, Pearl canceled, the Polo series, Live to Lead, nothing really hit the way that the Harry and Meghan docuseries hit.
Well, I don't know what sort of contract she's got with them, and I imagine that the lawyers are hard at work, but I would think it would be the former rather than the latter. But I don't know if they will hold on to her. I mean, that'll be the interesting thing. I mean, I do think they would be extremely worried because they have a very, very expensive lifestyle. I mean, all that security in the Montecito house, and whenever you see him arriving at an airport, there's a couple of Range Rovers and lots of people running around. This all costs money.
Right.
And it's got to keep turning on the whole time.
The only reason why I think Netflix will continue with the relationship is because they're allegedly big investors in As Ever. So there's a side commitment there, and it would look silly. It would look like they didn't believe in this entity that they have invested in if they were to cut her off from the production side.
Yes.
And whatever happened to Meet Me at the Lake? We're just over here waiting for Meet Me at the Lake. They bought the rights to that book about the couple in Toronto. It just feels like they announce things so prematurely.
Yes.
And they never come to fruition.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even her critics. It's her own identity crisis. Is she an actress an activist, an entrepreneur, a duchess. Until she figures that out, every new project will feel like another missed opportunity. Because the truth is, being a royal isn't just about titles. It's about timing, restraint, and emotional intelligence. 3 things Meghan has yet to master. And while the Windsors quietly adapt to modern life, Meghan and Harry are still chasing the spotlight without realizing it's already moved on.